Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Wednesday, July 15th. And I think the market is actually market on the Nasdaq side is to the upside. Now, ES kind of holding a little bit to the upside, but pretty much in a holding pattern. We're waiting for PPI data coming out this morning. We're in the middle of earnings season right now, it's starting earnings season, and there's a lot of expectations on these earnings, so it could be a very much market making stuff happening here. Let's see, the news this morning, as I said, they had mortgage apps come out early on. They were a mixed bag. The refinance was up, the purchases were down. So a mixed bag on the mortgage applications. PPI coming out at 8:30, as well as Empire State Manufacturing Index. Oil report at 10:30, and that's about it. Kevin Warsh keeps testifying at 10. So that's kind of what we got on tap. So PPI coming out, still everything is kind of status quo, summer type trading. Interesting to note though is like the volume was down this morning quite a bit. I mean, I'm looking at the EES trading at 64,000. The micro EES was also something pretty anemic. Let me hold this back together again, like that. So this is what happened the last couple of days we were up here against this upper area, the 7600s. And right now we're trading round about that area. We went up a little bit and then back down. So we're trading right at that resistance area at the 7600. I'll see if they can take it out or not. But if they can, that would be a good sign. Like yesterday's overnight was to the downside, and that was reversed in the day session. So we're pretty much in the trading session, in the trading range. And I would just stay range-bound trading at this point. Looking to sell strength, buy weakness, fairly equally at this point. Unless we get a piece of news, we're just going to drive it one way or the other, and that would be pretty obvious if we get it. So looking to sell strength against that 76 10 to 15, 76.25s for rotations down. Looking to buy against the 75.90s, 75.80s for rotations back up. I think below 75.80s, I'm taking off the long bias, going back range bound, and that's going back. Oh, it's not so much I have a long bias, but since the overnight is to the upside, I probably favor it alongside. But definitely, if they take out the 80s, then we just back flat out range bound. So 75, 70s, 75, 55s for rotations back up. So kind of just this flat out range bound trading, but in the bigger picture, we are range bound. Just looking at the overnight in yesterday's day session, if you want to keep a slight bias to the upside, that would probably be worthwhile. So and I would favor it alongside at least a couple of levels, 75.90, 75.80. More than that, no. It's at that point they're backing off too much. And then if they retest the highs here at 76, 10 to 15 and can't take it out, we're probably going to be right back down again. So fairly straightforward analysis, not much to really grind on there. As the earnings keeps coming out, with these numbers is going to get either going to see a trend to the upside if the earnings are good, or if there's a couple of hiccups, we may see a couple of big down days. You know, we remember that earnings season we had that. Big tech had I think there was a couple of those companies had an earnings miss or a forward guidance which wasn't good enough, and that dragged the whole market down with it for a big sell-off day kind of thing. So that could certainly happen, but we should know. If you listen into the financial news, if there's something like that going on, they'll be reporting on it. Now Nasdaq, same story there. I mean, you can see the volume here is 55,000 on the ES. That's all I have on the micro ES. On the micro Nasdaq, 250,000. So that, remember, this used to be at 800 and over a million. So it's a very slow overnight for some reason. So not much going on there. But if you look at the Nasdaq and the bigger picture on the Nasdaq. Like that. So you see they're still trading very much in a range, but to the upside, they're above this midpoint to 29,800 level or 29,750, 770 area. Still, they're right up against this volume edge at the 30,050s and 60s. And if they can take that out, we may have a shot at starting to grind this a little bit to the upside. So that is a positive sign. But this volume edge here is resistance, and watch the and if you get up here looking for potential retest failures against it. So we've been up here already in the overnight. I would look to sell strength up to that 930, so 920s, 30,000, 60s for rotations down. And I would look to buy weakness, 870s, 800s, 740s for rotations to back up again. That's kind of the way I would look at it. Now the going in, as it trades higher, if it's going to run up here and retest the highs, which would be very much not completely unexpected for them to do. And definitely look for short setups up here. They could run it one level above the obvious, I'd say to the 120s for sure. But I would be looking for short setups up here and see if they form with the expectation that they're going to fail. Now you can probably keep a slight bias to the upside, given the overnight, yesterday's reversal on the day session and the overnight. So look for so if you're looking for favorite alongside to get started, looking to buy against that 870, the 29, 870, 880s, the 780s down to the 740s for rotations up. Below 740s, I'm definitely just taking off any long bias, but you can tell yesterday's day session, nice reversal, nice move up here in the overnight, but they're backing off the upper edge. And if this is it, if they're not going to retest this high, we just may see them trickle right back down into this lower range on the ES. So that's where we are. So range bound trading, look to buy weakness, sell strength fairly equally. Not much volume going on at all today. Looking at the bonds. Bond market to the downside a little bit, but they were up pretty good in yesterday's day session. That reversed that one, they're right back down to the 110.16s. Looks like the bond market is trying to trade this lower, even in light of the low inflation read. We'll see how the PPI comes out and how they react to it. But if the reaction is, if the PPI is also good, I mean, there's no reason why the yield should keep coming higher. So I would expect them to hold the support and start trading back up again. The yields come down a little bit, but we'll see. Bond market may be reacting to the war in Iran as well. That kinetic situation going on there. Anyway, so starting off on the short chart on the bonds, given that they backed off this overnight pretty good. Looking to sell strength against the 110.18s, 10.22s, up to that 10.28s for rotations back down. Above 28s, definitely take off the short bias and go back range bound, maybe even start leaning towards the long side. So we'll see. But the potential long opportunity down here at the 110, 12 to 14. If that holds, could be a nice potential buying opportunity, but we'll see. And they're down here now, a little pop from yesterday, complete reversal all the way down here. Kind of interesting. All right, guys. So crypto-wise, we're looking at the crypto-wise, we are back here at the pretty much silver's to the downside, down at 58, gold down at 4,000. So not a lot of movement on those directionally. Oil is back out. Oil is still trading at 80, so not much going on there. Cryptos is kind of been slowly creeping higher. So Bitcoin and Ethereum futures slowly trading higher, and they did some movement on that Clarity Act. So I think when that one gets passed, if it looks like it's going to happen before the recess in August, I think that's going to probably be a positive for crypto and crypto futures as well. But right now, no trades on my part there, so I'm kind of watching it. So back to the ES and the NASDAQ and kind of where we left it. So we're twisting in the wind, light volume, backing off the initial retest of the highs here. Let's see if they come back up and retest them early on here. But PPI coming out in about 15 minutes. So there you go. Not much else to say about it. So let's wrap it there. So good trading, guys. I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update later.